If you're running an e-commerce brand and you're considering using Google Ads as a growth channel, you've probably asked the most obvious question: how much is this actually going to cost me? And I'm guessing when you asked an agency that, or even someone on your team, you probably didn't get a straight answer. You got a "it depends," or "let's hop on a discovery call." You got a contact form and a 45-minute presentation before anyone ever mentioned a number to you. That's because agencies don't want you to know the real numbers before you get on the phone with them. I think that's absolutely backwards. So I'm going to break down exactly what Google Ads should cost for an e-commerce brand with real numbers, so you can decide whether the investment makes sense for your unique business before you ever talk to anyone. I'm Greg Shuey and I run a marketing agency called Stryde. We run e-commerce marketing ads for D2C brands doing $1 to $15 million a year in revenue. The first thing that you need to understand is that Google Ads has two separate costs, and most brands confuse those costs. So let's break down each one of them. Cost one is ad spend. That is the money that you pay directly to Google every time someone clicks on one of your ads. For e-commerce brands in our revenue range, monthly ad spend typically looks like $3,000 to $5,000 a month if you're just getting started with the channel. You're probably like $5,000 to $15,000 a month if you're looking for steady growth, and $15,000 to $30,000 a month if you are aggressively scaling your business. And during the fourth quarter, holidays, you could plan on 1 to 1.5 times that spend, and you're gonna get back a pretty good return on those ad dollars. The second cost that you'll have as an e-commerce company is your management fees paid to a marketing agency. That is what you're going to pay them to build, to manage, and to optimize and report on your campaigns. For e-commerce specialized agencies, you're probably looking at about $3,500 to $8,000 a month to manage your Google Ads. Freelancers will run anywhere between $500 and $2,000 a month. Generalist agencies will typically run about $2,000 to $4,000 a month, and enterprise shops run about $8,000 to $15,000 a month, or possibly even more, just to manage your ads. So the total monthly investment for most direct-to-consumer brands, ad spend plus ads management, lands somewhere between $6,500 a month and $35,000-ish a month, depending on your stage, depending on your goals, and depending on your unique business and the industry that you are in. I know these numbers can feel really big, and that's exactly why you need to understand the math and how the math works before you spend $1 on your Google Ads. So here's a simple framework that you can use right now to figure out if Google Ads actually makes sense for your brand. Step one is to know your unit economics. What is your average order value? What is your gross margin after costs of goods and shipping? What is your website conversion rate? You need those three numbers in order to do the math. Step two is to estimate your category's cost per click. Baby products, you're probably looking anywhere between 60 cents to $1.50 per click. Fashion brands, you're probably looking anywhere between about 80 cents and $2 per click. Home good brands, you're probably looking anywhere between $1 and $3 to $4 per click. Sporting good brands, $1 to maybe $2.50 a click. These vary, again, depending on competitiveness, how much inventory is available in the Google Ads platform, but they should help you start to gain a ballpark and a better idea of what you're going to be spending. Step three is to calculate your break-even CPA, and CPA stands for cost per acquisition. That's simply your average order value times your gross margin percentage. So if your average order value is $95 and your margin is 55%, your break-even cost per acquisition is about $52. You can't spend more than that to acquire a new customer without losing money on the first sale. Step four is projecting your actual CPA from Google Ads. So take your average cost per click divided by your conversion rate. If your cost per click is $1.75 and your conversion rate is 2.8%, your projected cost per acquisition acquisition is about $62.50. So in that example, the projected CPA is higher than the break even. You would lose money on every single new customer that you bring in through Google Ads, unless you improve your conversion rate, or you lower your CPCs through better optimization, or you have, and this one's important, strong repeat purchase behavior that makes your lifetime value work for you in your favor. If you know that 70 to 80% of your customers come back a second time to make another purchase, then those numbers really start to make sense for your business. The point isn't to get this to a perfect prediction. It's to see whether you're in the right ballpark before you even decide to invest money into Google Ads. Now, let me talk about the cheap ads management trap, because this is where brands lose the most money without even realizing it. A $500 to $1,000 a month PPC manager sounds like an amazing deal, but here's what you're actually getting. You're getting set it and forget it campaigns, no product feed optimization, no search term monitoring, which means you're paying for irrelevant clicks, no testing creative, and reporting that shows clicks but never connects that back to revenue. So let's do the math on that. You're spending $10,000 a month on ads because nobody's monitoring the waste. Conservatively, 25 to 35% of that goes to irrelevant clicks and poor targeting. That's $2,500 to $3,500 a month in wasted ad spend. Over 12 months, you've burned $30,000 to $42,000 in wasted ad spend. You've saved maybe $3,000 to $5,000 a month on management fees compared to a real specialist agency, but the wasted spend cost you 8 to 10 times what you would have saved otherwise. That's not savings. That is the most expensive, cheap decision that you can make for your business. And one more thing, because it matters more than most brands realize, ask your agency how they charge. Most Google Ads agencies use a percentage of ad spend pricing, and they're usually somewhere between about 15 to 20 to 25% of what you spend on your ads, which means they make more when you spend more, whether that spend is profitable or whether it's not profitable. Think about that. If your agency discovers that they can get the same results at $12,000 in spend instead of $20,000 in spend, recommending a lower budget just costs them a pay cut. How many agencies do you think actually make that recommendation? I would bet probably close to none. That's why we use a flat monthly fee at Stryde. And I'm starting to see this become more and more common across many different agencies. Our fee stays the same whether you spend $5,000 a month or whether you spend $50,000 a month. Our only incentive is making your campaigns as profitable as possible, and that alignment is what matters for your business. If you'd like an analysis of what Google Ads would look like for your brand when working with our agency, this includes projected CPCs, estimated ROAS, recommended budget. I'll drop a link in the description below where you can request that free audit and strategy. I've also built a really amazing blog post that goes way deeper on this topic, and I will include that in the description as well. If this kind of pricing transparency is refreshing, make sure to hit subscribe below. I put out content every single week to help e-commerce brands stop guessing and make smarter marketing investments. So follow along, and I'll see you in the next one.